Welcome back to Connected from Afar. Today, technology was trying to get the best of us, but we're here. We are not letting this get in the way. Hey, Janelle.
Hey, so this is like take like 50 of trying to make this work.
Yes, at least, but an hour and 15 minutes later, here we are. Now, welcome back to our channel. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Janelle. We have bonded as millennial women, as moms, wives, as coaches, and as students of life, all while finding the humor in the chaos. This is us unpacking and externally processing the ever-evolving and growing baggage of life. Join us in the conversation.
Have we mentioned that we've never actually met in real life? We are connected from afar. And today's hot topic is everything about boundaries. I think this is a hot topic. This is something personally that not only did I start my journey out by learning about boundaries, here I am, however many years later. I think I'm in about 7 years of my personal growth journey now, and I still have to revisit boundaries, implement them, work on them, tweak them, move them, because I think the thing with boundaries is, for me, it's never like a hard line. It's more of like where I am. So maybe you have to set a boundary, and it's a hard boundary of not seeing someone. And then 3 months later, you've healed, time has gone on, and now you've opened that door where you'll allow yourself to see someone for 30 minutes. Like, I think it's important to be flexible with when we're dealing with boundaries, because especially as we evolve and change, I think that the boundaries we create should also evolve and change. And that doesn't mean that they have to, but I think it's important to always revisit those and like, is that where I am now? Or is that where I was? How do I feel about it now? And that's been something that honestly I have felt so connected to my power when I have played around with these boundaries, because we're in full control of them.
Yeah,
It's not up to someone else. It's
yeah,
up to ourself.
it's our
And
boundary.
so, yeah, it's for us. And so there's so much power that lives in that space that before I started ever implementing anything, I mean, obviously I was terrified as all hell to even attempt to set a boundary. But yeah, I definitely think that there's power there.
Yeah, and I think it's important to kind of just maybe let the people know that there's different categories of boundaries, right? Like, and I think today we're specifically talking about relationship boundaries just based on what you wanted to talk about today. Yeah. But there is like, boundaries around your time, like relationship boundaries, money boundaries, like there's spiritual boundaries, like there's different ones, kind of different areas of your life that you can set boundaries. So like boundaries isn't just with other people, it could be like boundaries for yourself, to yourself.
Hmm.
Or yeah, and I guess yeah. So just wanted to preface what we're talking about today is mostly about relationship boundaries.
Yes. Yeah, boundaries that have to do with other people for today. And then another topic we could discuss another time could be around other things. But yeah, you're right, Janelle. You can have boundaries for anything. And the important piece to take away from that is exactly what you said, which is boundaries are for ourselves, not for somebody else. Yeah. So, one of the things in the very beginning, I was trying to create some distance with someone in my life that was very important to me. And I had no idea how to do that. And so my coach is like, well, she's shown you who she is over and over. So perhaps you shouldn't share so much information with her. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I not do that? And so one of the first boundaries I ever made was just in realizing not to overshare to the wrong people. Don't just spill the beans to the people around you because they're around you. And what I realized is I did that with everyone in my life. Like, if you knew me, you knew everything about me. I didn't have a single boundary to withhold because I didn't know what they were. I just thought, when she told me that, I thought, well, then what are we going to talk about? Like, if I'm not going to show up open book, like, then I feel fake.
Mm.
And what I've realized and using this particular person in my life, like you really don't. I've learned that now. Like you don't have to share everything with everyone. And it's so important to understand the people that you can share yourself and your story and your life with, because if they're not going to hold space for you that is conducive to your growth and just your being in general, then they're probably the wrong person to be seeking advice from.
Yeah, and not just the seeking advice from, even just, sharing, being an open book is a two-way street. And it
Mhm.
it actually requires a lot of trust. And if
Yeah.
someone breaks that trust, you're like, "Oh, well, now I know for next time that this isn't an area that I share." Or like I like there's different levels of amount of sharing. And you've earned
Mhm.
my trust to this level. In order to build that like to the next level, you have to work on that, right? It takes a little bit of sharing, but it also takes them sharing and you both holding space for that. And it's not just like the advice part, but it's like, are you holding space for me and being compassionate? Are you capable of being compassionate just enough just to listen and let me speak?
Mhm.
I don't need you to fix it. I just need to trust that if I share something with you, that it goes nowhere else and there's no
Yeah.
judgment. And
Yeah,
I think that's the other
exactly.
piece is the no judgment part. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think as a people pleaser and someone that has like worked really hard to not be a people pleaser, it gets challenging to create and uphold boundaries, like knowing that people who don't do stuff like that are judging you, thinking poorly of you, talking about you to other people. Like, and I think that's where it becomes so important for us to like really do the inner work of knowing who we are, because like we're saying, like boundaries are for us, and so no one else really needs to understand them. You said it earlier of like no is a complete sentence. And so there's that. And there's that space of like, we don't have to explain ourselves to anybody. And the off chance that we decide to the wrong people, like they're not going to get it anyways. And I think that that was a misconception when I first learned about boundaries, was thinking that I needed to go and have conversations with people about them, and you really don't. And as long as you know why you're making um, this edit in your life, you're setting this boundary for yourself, like that really is the most important part. And what I was just like experiencing this week is knowing that, like knowing I made the hard decision to miss out on a huge one of those, like, I don't want to say, well, yeah, it's like I missed out on my niece's graduation for something that had nothing to do with her and solely about the people that were going to be there. And I know, like, in my heart that that was the right choice for me, but that doesn't mean that it's not like hard and that there's not obvious emotions that are attached to that, because it's sad. It's like I'm missing out on something to protect myself, protect my peace, protect everything in my being. But yeah, there's times that I will miss out. And at this point in my journey, like going back and faking it like I used to is no longer an option. Before, if I was bugged at someone, I could fake it. I could show up and look at you in the face and give you a hug and say, hey, good to see you, or whatever the fucking bullshit I would say, right? That is just not the case, and that's not who I am anymore. Like, I would rather not show up somewhere than have to show up and fake it the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it sucks. Like, in your heart you were doing the right thing, but there's still collateral damage.
Hmm.
And that's the part that makes it so hard is when you see, what you're doing best for you hurt someone else and they might not, especially if they're younger, they might not understand.
Hmm.
But we are people, we are humans, and we need to do what's best for us. And they need to deal, that's their business. We can't help how other people react, how other people feel, but we need to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was one of those things where in the past, like, because I was in such protective, let me see what I'm trying to say. In the past, my boundaries consisted of me not being around, say, the person that I was setting. Like, I didn't ever have to miss out on anything because of someone else. So, like, in this circumstance, I missed out on something for my niece who has done absolutely nothing wrong, who's this
Hmm.
beautiful soul. I've missed out on something because of someone else that is going to be there. And that is a first for me because I've set boundaries with my sisters or friends in the past, but it was because of them, right?
Yeah.
And so this is just a whole new category of like shittiness, of growth on the other side that's just hella fucking hard because, again, no regrets, zero. I haven't looked and thought, I wish I would have, bypassed everything I was feeling or anything like that. It's like, no, I trust I make great decisions and everything about that was correct, but I'm sad,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. You said something earlier about, the experience of knowing that they're talking behind your back, the
Hmm.
judgment, and how that affects you. Like, so I've been doing a lot of reading and stuff and my own work on like inner family systems, like the
Hmm.
inner child stuff. And you can be like, you can still know that you're acting out of your higher self, but there are moments where those parts of you, those inner childs, because there are multiple of them, that get triggered
Hmm.
and still come up. They don't ever heal and go away. They are part of who you are. They are a makeup of who you are as a person that's gotten you where you are today. But every once in a while, they need a little love and care. And, to be able to stay in your, like, as your higher self of making that really tough decision to miss out on something that would your niece probably wanted you there, but you knew that was the best decision for you. That's your higher self caring for those inner child. But at the same time, that other part of you that, feels judged or gossiped about or whatever also needs care in this moment,
Hmm.
So it's honoring and carrying multiple parts of you. They can come up at different times. They can come up simultaneously. One can feel really cared for. The other one is at the same time, as a result, feels like now I need some care as a result of this decision, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the beauty and like where I am now versus where I was in, 7 years ago when I started implementing boundaries is like I don't feel the need to defend them anymore. I don't feel the need to express why and I need you to understand why. Like I don't have that anymore. And I did in the beginning. And I think that that's a natural state of ever like doing something new, right? And so there would be this like defense that would come up for me when I would do something like that. Like, I'm doing this, this is the right thing for me. Like, I needed to prove a point.
Yeah.
And that's not the case anymore. And like with what you're saying, the judgment, oh my God. I mean, my little, inner child was just screaming. I mean, I could barely handle it. I mean, it was insane. But again, here I am, 7 years later, and now it's more identified as a pattern. And I'm grateful that that piece of the pain hurts less, like, because the people that are judging me aren't doing this inner work. So at the same time, I can have this space of compassion because I'm like, of course you're not going to understand what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
of course this is going to seem like we were talking about like forgiveness. Like you think I don't forgive people. If that's what you need to believe to, make yourself feel better, like go for it. But again, like it can be true that I forgive someone for myself
Yeah.
and still choose to not be around them.
Yeah. Forgiveness doesn't mean access.
You fucking just nailed it. Exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here it is, open wounds of creating boundaries like truly, truly for yourself and protecting yourself, and also knowing that like there's emotions that are attached to these things. And just because you have the courage to implement them doesn't mean it's going to be a walk in the park and you're just going to be all, pumped about it. And I think that that's okay. And I think it's important to recognize that we are human and we do have emotions. And because we're strong enough to do the hard thing or make a new choice or implement a boundary, like we can also have emotion with that as well.
Yeah, and you said something earlier about you can always revisit boundaries.
Yeah.
like especially the more personal development you do, self-growth, call it whatever you want, work on yourself, time. Sometimes it's just a matter of time to like internally process emotions, events, whatever. Those boundaries could change in the future, but where you are now and what you need now, those are the boundaries you need now, and that's okay. And you don't need to explain them. Yeah. I think a lot of people have tried to feel the need to defend or and this I think that again you talked about this is like the people pleasing. You don't want to upset anybody, but you feel like you need to do this for yourself. So in order to try and alleviate their response or their emotional response to that new boundary, we feel like we need to make sure that they understand, therefore they
Hmm.
won't hold it against us. But we can't, that's not our baggage.
Right.
And I mean, like anything, there's a delivery in it, I mean, we don't have to explain it, but at the same time, like we don't need to make them feel like shit either. You're just like, I'm making a decision for me. This is what I feel I need. That's it,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
So how are you feeling now?
I had thought about it the day that it was happening, and I thought, wow, my entire family's together, and I'm not. I'm not there. And I was too busy to know how I felt about that right
Yeah.
there. At the time, I thought, wow, it's weird. I don't feel anything. But that was also because I didn't have an opportunity to feel. I had two people going at one time. And so, yeah, that was wild. And then the next morning, it just hit me. And it was like I couldn't stop crying. It was just the whole thing. And it's like, and I just kept asking, and it was like asking myself, did I make the wrong choice? Did I do the wrong thing? And it was just simply no. Like I didn't. I would make that choice again. If I had to do this again and go tomorrow, like I would make the same decision. I am not decision. I'm just sad at the things that I had to miss out on because of it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like anything. If we think about any time we like make a priority, so whether the priority is your boundary or whether it's like, I think about just time. Oftentimes I don't know, you've probably had this experience where on a weekend, there's like five different things that come up on the weekend and they're conflicting and
Mhm.
you have to choose which one you go to. And sometimes it's like, well, this is what's more important at the moment. Like this is what the direction that my family wants to go in. Like this is what we said we were going to spend our time doing. This one doesn't fall as much as I would love to do it, and I hate missing out. I hate having to say no. Just maybe it's a friend, like stuff with friends or whatever, and I can't commit to that because I've already committed or this is the priority at the moment. There's still sadness in like making that choice. Like there's still you can feel both happy about committing to your priorities, but still feel sad for missing out on something that, would have been nice. This was the priority.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think before I was in such like a protective state that even though I was missing out on things for boundaries that I had to create, over the years, I never had that emotional tie to it. It was just like that was the right thing I needed to do, and I'm going to miss out, and that's what that's going to be. And like it was more like that. Whereas like the further I've come along and I've let that shield down of like I don't have to go all out to protect myself. Like I can just easily create a boundary and choose to not do something. And I also choose or believe in myself and my decisions and all of that. So it's like, okay, now it's like being on the other side. And it's like I'm less of protecting myself. Like people judging me about it was expected. I knew there was going to be judgments coming my way. And that is what that is. It's honestly such a pattern. It's identifiable. Like it was going to come. Where the emotion and the sadness comes is just the event that was lost out on.
Yeah. Well, and I think like when you were talking about processing it on, I'm guessing Sunday morning, like feeling all those emotions and then doing that self check-in. What am I feeling right now? Like I think that's such an important process to do of not judging yourself for those emotions, just allowing yourself to experience them, seeing like what is coming up and asking like, okay, what do I need right now? Sometimes it's a conversation with someone else and just to like air it out and just say, this is how I'm feeling. Or sometimes it's just like, you just need time,
Yeah.
like love and support and compassion for yourself, some calm. But I think oftentimes we brush it off and we're like, like you said, like the Saturday, we go into like, I don't have time to deal with this. I don't want to feel these emotions. I'll just go, go,
Hmm.
go. But they're going to come back. Sometimes we don't need to do anything with them. We just need to experience them and just like
Yeah.
check in with ourselves. Like, what do I need right now? Sometimes it's just like a little cry.
Oh, totally. Totally. I know that's the thing too. Like, I can't suppress my emotions anymore. Like, if there's something bothering me or like I need to address it. And that's just where I am right now, whether that's with my husband or a friend or like if something revisits my mind twice, for sure the third time, like if it's come in three times, it has to be addressed. I can't be like, oh, never mind. It's like, no, if I've already had this thought means something. There's a reason it's coming back.
Yeah.
So I need to let it out. And my parents were staying with us and I suppressed it long enough to have a 10-hour day and put on a face and like go to
Yeah.
work because that's professional and what I needed to do. And I cried the whole way to work and then worked all day and then came home and my dad just looked at me and was like, "Are you okay?" And it was like I went and showered and I came back out and I was like, "No, no, this is where I am." And like this is what's going on. And I felt better. I just needed to cry. I needed to let them know, like,
Yeah.
and they're so sweet. My dad's like, he brought me like the graduation booklet and like so they were thinking about me, which that was something I was not expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't, not like I'm trying to say they don't think about me, but just like I wasn't expecting that they were like, "Hey, Nicole might want one of these." They brought me a graduation ticket, they brought me the little booklet with all the kids. And I just thought like they get it. Like that was so kind that they thought of
Yeah.
me and chose to do that and that felt good and felt good about it up until and I still feel good, but we were talking about it and it will bring emotion and it might bring emotion forever. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it is, I think that's just something that we learn through the process of putting ourselves first is like it can be hard. It can be
Yeah.
hard and sad. And, it's no different than like ending some big relationship that you just know isn't good for you anymore.
Yeah.
That might be bigger scale, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like the harder choice doesn't always mean the wrong. It just means more emotion. But if you know in your heart that you're listening and you're aligned with what you're needing to do, that's the important part.
Yeah, yeah. And oftentimes it's those big, especially in the beginning, those saying those new no's
Hmm.
feels way harder. And with time, you build that confidence and that like confidence in yourself, that sense of self. And those big no's won't always feel so big. It's a practice like anything else. It takes practice. And when you start to feel better and like more safe, like with the decisions that you're making, and build more trust with yourself, then those no's become a little bit easier. Don't get me wrong. When it comes to relationships, those no's often will always feel big, but they won't feel as big. And you'll feel
Hmm.
more confident in making those despite the emotions that come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for holding space for that. I wanted to try to get through this because I think it is important, and I do think that people experience stuff like this, and what better way to do that than like a true form of
Yeah.
what I'm going through?
Well, I think a lot of people feel when they're feeling triggered, they feel alone. And it's
Hmm.
nice to know that you're not the only one dealing with that, and to feel that someone else is brave. I can be brave too and make these
Yeah.
decisions for myself. And to be able to share that, I think the more we share, the more we're able to connect with people. And that creates strength in community, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So.
For sure. All right. Well, that's it. Do you want to do a mystery question to end this episode?
Don't know why this is always a surprise to me. I'm the one who suggested this and I forget every time. Yeah, let's do a mystery question. Give me 1 second. Well, if we keep it on topic, when you're having to face these decisions of making, sticking to a boundary, do you have like a mantra or something that you like kind of some self-talk that you have to kind of stand firm when, especially when there is pressure to be like to maybe say yes instead or like make concessions? Is there some kind of conversation in your head to help you stand firm?
This is going to touch on that. It's not exactly, but this is what's coming to mind. I don't necessarily have like a mantra or this is what I need to be doing or like a talk with myself. What I've done over the years is built trust in myself. And so now when I weigh out my options of things that are going on, I'll look at full circle of all the different things that could go on. And then my body tells me if it's yes or no. Because if I'm going to be triggered already and I'm not even in the situation and just thinking about it is getting me there, then I already know that it's a no for me. It's a no for me, dog. Do you know what that's from?
No. I was like, I don't think she has a dog.
Okay, it's from American Idol from forever when Randy Jackson was it that his
Oh,
name?
dog. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
he would say that's a no from me, dog.
Oh, I forgot about
Anyways,
that.
I
Oh my
say that
God.
sometimes.
That's like 25
So
years ago. Probably
I
more.
know. Anyways, so that's what I do. I over the
Gotcha.
years I have built trust within myself, so I just know if it's a yes or a no. My body
Yeah.
tells me, the trust I've built over the years tells me, and then I just stand firm in it because I think I make great decisions. I think I'm a caring, loving person. I think I consider all sides. I think I consider people as well as myself, but at the end of the day, I do have to make sure that I'm showing up true to myself before anyone else. So that's what I would
Yeah.
say about that.
Yeah. Just trusting your instinct.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
And for you, I would say, let's see. Besides boundaries around relationships, what else do you think would be a tough boundary to create?
I think a big one, at least for me, is time. I hate missing out. Sometimes I over promise myself, thinking I can get it all in, and I will try to like fandangle something and be like, even when we're making plans, my husband's always like, he's like a one event a day type of guy, and I'm like, we can get them all in, like if we
Yeah.
leave at this time, and then we can, if we drop the kid, like I'll like make contingencies and like, okay, we can, if we drop this kid off here and then we have a little bit, like we've got like 5 minutes and we can get to the next place and like, and then maybe if this person drops this person at line, he's like, no. So there's times where I will do it anyway, because if it's important to me, I will.
Hmm.
But he often reminds me that we don't have to do it all. And sometimes we have to, how much he makes me consider how much of my energy this is going to take, how much of a monster will I be at the end of it, like, or
Yes.
during it, because I'll be like, let's fucking go. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go with you. So yeah, my time. I think and it's a boundary almost for myself. It's less, but also like I think the other thing, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was at a meeting and I wanted to be there, but we had said it was gonna be like 15, 20 minutes. I was like, this is gonna be an hour conversation, which I was planned for. It was freaking 2 hours, and I should have said, and so I had been up at 5. It was now 11 o'clock, and I was like regretting my decisions and just regretting not being like, you know what, like it's getting late. Can we wrap this up? But we were chit chatting and like, but the chit chat started to be like, okay, that's enough, or at least on my end. Not that I didn't want to be a part of the conversation, but I was like, I need to go to bed. I need to get home. It was still like half an hour drive. So just things like that, learning to respect my own, like I guess my intuition of I need to respect my time, not just them, because they didn't know, right? It was just like it seemed like we're having a nice time, but just knowing that when to walk away, being able
Yeah.
to pull myself out of conversations, or I struggle with that, is pulling out of conversations or events or whatever before it's finished, even when they've gone over time. So yeah, that is something I'm working on. But yeah, just time is a big one for me in all kinds of shapes and form. That was a long answer.
Yeah, I get that. I get that for sure. All right. Well, thank you everybody for allowing space for me to be vulnerable and open with the things that are going on because they're relatable and we're human and we're all going through this journey and this experience together. So please feel free to leave any comments or tell us your story or what you have gone through. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so we can continue to build our community.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.